Hello, friends. No, it's been a while since I've sent any videos, and can't say it's due to a lack of what you would call it, inspiration. Well, I actually want to show this off. I know I'm a bit close. Please just fly back. This is the Sonic Quarry. So something of my own little design. It's not entirely automated because I like having that bit of that physical manual flavor to having to do things. But I did automate some of the more annoying parts, and I finally perfected it with the Masstech mod pack created by Hybrid Avenger. So thank you for making the mod pack. I probably didn't advertise that I've been playing on it. I do have a single player world. I want to show you the beginnings of it. But first off, my quarry. So it will allow you to sit and ride it, or at least wait on it, more or less. And the way it works with a gantry shaft. Oops, let's move that. It all works on a gantry shaft with three carriages, and when using the hand crank, you can move it back and forth along the gantry shaft, and that's how we move it. So it does. I should call it the Sonic Slicer, because it does a single layer of a chunk at a time. And I'm gonna just move it forward till I get about right there. So we're on the grass blocks, and I will not say it's infinitely expandable, because you can continue to put these out until you reach your limit. So it's definitely possible to probably take out two chunks at the same time. But as far as going in a singular direction, all I have to do is come over here and let me go into game mode survival. It allows me to just get all these back, and with the way create allows you to add other gantry shafts, I can just put them all here and it continuously extends that one. And once we reach the end, I can take this one off and put on the hand crank right there at the end. So we can still go backwards, go forward. It'll break the grass blocks there, but then going back, see, it breaks it. With here, I do have a speed controller and my stressometer. So it says no rotation because in the back, we're using a windmill with 8 wool blocks. So you probably use 8 cells, but I'm using wool blocks because I wanted to make this as quickly to build as possible. And with that being said, you can grow string or flax or even the hemp, and that way you can get your string quickly. So make the wool, don't need to deal with making cells. You need 8 blocks at a minimum in this version of Create. From there, we have the windmill bearing and then a linear chassis, which allows me to get all 8 of these blocks attached. There are 8 wool blocks. And the on-off is just right-clicking the windmill. Now that it's on, we come over to the front. I have a gearbox here to go from the gearbox into the rotation speed controller. So with us already being lined up properly, I'm just gonna bump this to the maximum speed we can go. I think it's like 112 maybe one more. 128. So that will give you the perfectly stressed achievement. And from there, we're ready to start drilling down. So jump up here. And this whole little setup with the powered latch. So we go all the way to the end. You'll see that I have this redstone block and it goes into a redstone link like this one right here. What happens is when you press this button, it starts drilling. So it toggles the powered latch, which turns off this gear shift, or at least turns it around, you could say. So it starts lowering. And we're drilling at, what was the speed again? With 128 rotational, well, 128 RPM. With 128 RPM, large cogwheel that goes into our case chain drive to bring it down a level. From there, passes through the gantry carriage to the gear shift and then to our rope pulley, which lowers the actual drills and drilling mechanisms. So you can do up to 16 drills. So if you want to just clear a trunk, normally I would like to do 15, and then just go down there for my like viewing pleasure. But what should happen from here? We use the seat to get up, and we can use this seat to get all the way up here. Once the actual drilling platform itself reaches the bottom, it's gonna hit bedrock. It can no longer drill, so it's gonna go from being a moving entity and to like a standard blocks that are placed. And once that's done, so I should probably say we're gonna go from being a contraption into normal blocks. Once that's done, the redstone signal will pass through the redstone link, which will then toggle the powered latch. And from there, it reverses the gear shift, brings it back up to reset the whole thing. I can simulate that fairly quickly, but throughout this whole time, it is properly running, so we do want some materials. Let's go back to creative so I can just go all the way down there. Let's see. Going through as fast as I can. So I am using two storage barrels as instead of chests, because one, I do not want the chest to connect. I also want to be able to open the storage barrels when they're up here and connected, because if they were chests, it would not be able to open due to there being solid blocks on the top of it. But so we have these two barrels here with 30 dirt from when we moved above this. Let's see how much longer we have. And when this is in a loaded chunk, you would want to load two chunks. The one that's doing the drilling, I'm just gonna put that there so we can see what happens. And the one that holds the seating platform as well. Although all this can be built as far as mostly the drilling mechanism and such in the same chunk for being loaded. And what just happened is it hit the bedrock, it can no longer drill down. So you can see that it's returning back up. Let's see, it's returned, good, done. And we're ready to move to the next slice of the chunk. So just rotate it forward. What I like to do from this point, as far as I'm about to describe those, why I have 4 barrels, I'm going to turn the speed back down. Let's go to about 12 or even 8 is okay. Well, let's see, 16 is probably okay as well. And we're just going to run up here along the back. And with this clutch here, it's currently powered to stop this from rotating. What I like to do is once I'm done with a slice, rotate it around to load the other 2 empty barrels, and I have the 2 that has my material that was just drilled out. And you can restart the drilling process now. But as you hear it, it's going much slower. So instead, gonna flip this back on to bring it back up. Turn off the windmill bearing because I want to show you guys that is expandable as far as SU as well. I have 8. Our max, let's turn this back on. Our max stress units are 512, and as you did see, our maximum rotation is 128. So to get more out of it, you would want to go all the way up to 16. Let's see. Otherwise, so our mass stress units are still 512. So 8 is the minimum. Once you reach 16, that's when you should get your next bump. Let's see. I already had it set to a max of 16. Turn it back on. Now our stress capacity is 1024, which allows a maximum speed of, I believe, the full 256. So we're going to toggle this to start by drilling. Fastest speed we can actually get. And while that's going, just come over here and empty out the 2 barrels. Now, with this being Masstech and just not a purely create mod, We do have other mods here that can help with this. And what I've envisioned is what I'm going to show you, the like best expandability. We have these two slots here. Let me just remove this, get a slime ball. Like I like to keep it simplistic, but we're gonna get slime balls, an entangler, and at this point, if you're able to get an entangler, you should be able to get an ender chest as well. So let's get one of the color-coded ender chests. And not that one. It should be under ender storage. There it is. So here's what we would do from this point. Take all of these. I'm just gonna bring it down to 2. And that can stay 1. What we'll want to do next, take your ender chest, place it at the center, and place your other ender chest somewhere else. We get 2 hoppers. Place 1 here. And 1 here. And now we're gonna get, we have the entangled binder, and we want the entangler. I know it's a weird name, but it is what it is, and it works. Alright, entangled block. And you're just gonna put these 2 on top of here. So let's see, how far down is our drill? I'm gonna let it keep going. While that's moving, I'll show you an earlier example. Was this design, and it was a bit more complicated because it intended to work with the create mods. The remote control that it has, where you can like specify forward, back, left, right, X and Y coordinates, Z axis, and 2 optional buttons, kind of like an NES controller. With that one, I intended to make this a bit more complicated, the link controller, but this has proved too much. So, because I had speed controls here to go from a high speed, low speed when wanting to rotate the storage, but again, that was too much. So, while it's going down, I'll wait for the return. I'm going to cut back so I can show you the way the rest of this should work. Alright, we're back. The drill has reached the bottom of the world. It's returning, and specifically this is the mining dimension that you can get after 3 diamonds and such. Alright, so as you can see, drill is returned. What we will do from here, we'll go to the net slice of the chunk. I'm going to bring the speed back down because, let me show you what happens if you don't. At maximum speed, if you try to rotate this, it just spins wildly. The way around that, once you're able to build it, is to build the gear shift, or okay, nope, cut that part out. There we go. With the speed being set at the maximum, once you come down here to rotate the drilling storage versus the offloading storage, it spins way too rapidly for you to stop it. So that's why I recommend slowing down the speed controller first. But to get away from that, you can remove this clutch once you have the resources to build this, pop in a sequence gear shift instead, and let me remove this, put a button on the sequence gear shift, or even you can put a redstone link again, but a button, and set the sequence gear shift to a 180-degree turn. No, 120. I'm mathing. I am failing at math. 180 degrees. They say never math on camera, and I said it right the first time and then messed up. Wow. But yes, so 90 will just switch it from horizontal to vertical. 180 is what we want because we just want to switch from top storage to bottom storage. Otherwise, the barrels will get filled the next time you go for drilling. So this is set to 180. Our two barrels at the top are empty for the most part. Let's just fill this up. And just two barrels are enough. You can actually make three barrels if you're a bit worried or you have some ores in your world that drop more than expected. But with that being said, press the button, bam. Now our barrels with the items in them at the top. The next empty barrels for drilling are at the bottom. We can bump this back up to its maximum speed. And toggle the gear shifts. And that was loud, but it's going through. So while that is drilling, we'll come over here and we go to the entangled binder, click barrel, go to one of our entangled boxes and click it. And from there, see, it's offloading materials in the chest, the ender chest. So we do the same thing with this one and on the left. And now they're both offloading into the ender chest, which we can then go over here. See, it's filling up. Let's throw. We're just putting a hopper there because the ender chest will get filled up from 2 barrels worth of materials, and this can go to your mass storage like refined storage, AE tools, or a storage drawer, or I believe it's functional storage in this pack. Let's just say storage. So you have industrial foregoing with the black hole tanks and storage items, refined storage that's just like AE2 with is disk-based storage, and then we have storage drawers as well, which is a great early game, and you can just pump from your ender chest into any of those. Let's see, for early game, if you get yourself a diamond, you can pump it into a drawer controller and then just have a bunch of drawers connected to it. And I even played around with having this set up to pull the items from the barrels and immediately put them into a storage drawer that's riding along as well. So let's see how far down that is. That's going down fairly good. Yeah, we're having material going in right now. And you can speed this up with other item transports, but if you stick to vanilla style transports, you don't have to worry about like mod and compatibility or just it getting depreciated and such. Let's cut this out. Third, probably best just avoid the and such. And still going. So let's remove all this for the time being. When you're going at lower speeds, and there's nothing to stop you from moving this manually, so you still have to interact with your contraptions, which is I find a great feeling actually. So throw all this in here. What we're waiting on is the return, so that we can check that what happens once it finishes with a slice and you have to move on to the next slice. There you go. So the latch just switched. Our drilling arm is returning. It's called drilling arms back. So from here, you almost never really need to leave the platform because as long as you have your wrench from create, and we can go back into survival mode. With this, right click to get your hand crank back. You can right click and get the gantry shaft back. Leave this little bit out so you can extend it. Put your hand crank at the end. Move on to the next slice, and then there are 2 barrels that are empty. It didn't let me rotate because we're using maximum stress units already. So you just gotta bring this down a little bit. Or you can turn it off. Bam. And we can start the drilling again. So, one word of advice whenever using this though, do not change the speed while it's drilling. Otherwise, you run the risk of it phasing through a block, and if that happens, it will more likely get stuck. Kind of if it went under water and lava, and bedrock was created on top of the drilling platform. So make sure you always increase your speed before you start drilling. Now, the entangled blocks at this point, they're not actually connected to the barrels themselves. They're connected to that space where the barrels occupied. So if another chest or some other storage block went there, it will start pulling from that storage material, storage block. So what you have to do each time that you move the drilling platform, take your entangler or entangled binder and just rebind the barrels from the new location. This is safe to move with the drilling platform. I have not tested just having these connected to an inner storage in the same area, because I kind of like having this off to the side and detached, and there's nothing to stop you from just carrying around backpacks and dumping the barrels contents into your backpack and letting it go again. But this is the Sonic Slicer, and it slices chunks, auto returns, self-contained, and just a thing of beauty. You can set it to move like down the line still if you put another redstone link on it and something to detect once the drill returns, like a redstone contact or redstone pair, so that once it returns up, it triggers that to rotate your storage and then move on to the next part of the chunk. And as long as you keep the ending or keep it on a gantry shaft, once it reaches the end, then that lets you know you can come back and just offload it. That will probably be my next design, but that will also require another part. It will not all be self-contained, since the whole platform itself will need a different source to move it along the way, which is similar to what was done at the initial design. So let's go back to creative, like over here, where the actual moving of the platform is powered through water wheels and off to the side. But that was just the prototype design. With this one going forward is what I will use to make something better. So if you guys do want to see a fully automated chunk destroyer, just let me know. Send me a message in Discord or just reply to this message, because this is going unlisted just in Discord unless you guys think it should go public. But with all the wonderful designs and technologies that Create has going now, I think I'll have to make a walking mech to just put it out there. But for an early game Quarry, going into the mining dimension, and all you need are 3 diamonds just to get 3 diamonds to get to this dimension to build a diamond pickaxe, and you're good to go. So thank you guys for watching. Happy to be a part of this community, and see you around. Also, sorry for the radio silence, but I am still lurking, y'all. Peace.